spiritual seeking can get so solid. It can just start to feel like who you are, what you occupy your time with, what you occupy your mind with, what you occupy your heart with, what you occupy your day with. And I think this is a valuable pursuit for sure. And yet, our identity structures are so sneaky, they can easily wrap themselves around that. Can really just start to feel like who we are. I'm the spiritual seeker. I'm the one that tries new things or is willing to try whatever is necessary. Whatever meditation or technique or practice, reading all the books, the different teachers. Without noticing it, we can sort of reify that solidity of identity, that structured way of seeing the world from a specific view without noticing the view itself or deconstructing the view. And it's okay that this happens, it's a side effect. But it's something to consider when you feel solid in this way, when you feel like what you are is a spiritual seeker, what you are is the one who's always doing a practice, always doing the next practice, always looking for a fine-tuning or the right practice. Again, all this has practical value. It's really a matter of the identity. It's a matter of what's behind that view, or whether the view itself feels solid, whether it's forming or solidifying the world as something apart from you in which you have to navigate, maneuver, search, seek for the right answers, the right way to be a spiritual person or a good person or a Buddhist or Advaitist or whatever. This tendency to orient from the framework of an identity is deeply rooted, deeply buried within us. In fact, it's not even until a relatively deep stage of realization that this tendency stops, the tendency to form a identified view that is not an opinion. It's not a view that you know you're holding like a belief. It's more fundamental. It's the tendency to form any view at all. We could say an inherent view, or we could say a fundamental frame of reference that's based in identity. So this will operate at one level or another, at least intermittently, for a long time. So what I wanted to offer in this video is, if and when you notice this, when you notice that solidifying of the spiritual seeker, which may feel something like whatever you were identifying with before you became interested in awakening or spirituality or whatever, maybe more on the material plane, or what we consider the mundane, materialistic seeking that we do. And now we've just reapplied that to spiritual seeking, seeking an awakening, seeking enlightenment, seeking more clarity, more understanding, whatever it is. So if you notice that, if you recognize that's at least part of what's going on, it may not be all of what's going on for you, but it may be a part of it. I wanted to offer an approach or a strategy that can actually utilize that recognition to bring you to a deeper understanding or practical understanding of self-inquiry. So how does this work? Well, first of all, you have to be willing and able to actually recognize that that's the case, that there is this view and sense of being a seeker, or maybe even not a seeker, the one who knows, who's arrived, who's had something, an awakening, some insight, some understanding. Maybe you're identified as a Buddhist, maybe you're identified as a Dzogchen Buddhist, a Zen Buddhist, a Tibetan Buddhist. Maybe you're identified as a Hindu or an Advaitin or a Christian mystic, all of which are fine if these are the practical truths of your life. However, if you want to investigate how identity gets tied into this, then just ask yourself, is it possible that that's going on? Or if it's just obvious immediately. Either way, once you recognize it, you're in a good place. You can feel it. Feel what it feels like to be the one seeking. It'll feel like you if you're truly identified with it. If it's solidified at the identity level, it'll feel like who you are, but in a very slightly tainted way. Who you are with this identity, who you are with this set of beliefs and experiences that you've collected around this topic, this movement in your life. Feel into that. What does it feel like? Does it have a flavor at all? That I, that fundamental centerless center, the one that reifies experience, the one that collects experience, the one that seems to hold your experience together with a sort of glue. Go right to that. And just sort of feel around. This is subtle stuff, but feel around. Is there a flavor to it? Is there a flavor that leans in one direction or the other? Is there a flavor that leans out of this moment, even a bit into the future? When's it going to happen? When's the awakening coming? Can you feel that? You feel that leaning? That tendency or flavor? It's not an overt thought usually. It's something more fundamental than that, but it's in the thought space. And this is, again, subtle, so you don't even have to have a thought answer. If your mind is spinning going, what is this? What is he talking about? Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's fine. Those are a bunch of thoughts. Those are the more gross thoughts, the more formed thoughts. Just trace it back. What does it feel like to be the one that doesn't know right now? What does it feel like to be the one that's always trying to figure it out? Or what does it feel like to be the one that's always got it figured out? However you roll. Feel into it. Just settle back into that sense of you as you're taking yourself to be right now, the aware one, the conscious one. Feel back into it. Is there something slightly modifying that? A little leaning tendency, finger on the scale, that moves you towards the future. I'm going to find something. I'm going to finally get it. What is that? Feel into that. Does it have any substance at all? And I want you to approach this from the fundamental sense of being, presence, if you will. But ultimately, the sense of I am. From there, is there any flavor of it's not okay yet? I haven't arrived yet. I have somewhere to get to. I have something I have to figure out. I kind of understand that teacher, but I still feel like they know something I don't. Do you have that flavor in there in your experience? If you do, it's okay. There's no analysis necessary. There's no right or wrong to this. This is a simple exploration with no expectation. A gentle sort of probing. Now, if you don't find that flavor, that's fine. Just rest in that I sense. I. Or even I am. Or even pure being, beingness, awareness, awakeness, that which is receiving this or aware of this in some way with no labels on it. Rest in that. It's not going anywhere. It's never gone anywhere. It's never going to go anywhere. So this is a simple practice. If you can rest in it, then you're done. Because there's no future in which you'll be done. There's no past in which you were undone. So just rest here. No agendas at all. Simple. No object of focus. No specific object of attention. If it's a bit restless or you feel something leaning, then find it. Move just enough to taste that flavor of whatever. I got to get there. Not finished yet. I don't feel okay. Just lean a little bit into that flavor, that perfume of not quite I am, but I am something. May not even be a formed thought something, but I am something. See if there's any substance there, any findable truth to it, anything you can put your finger on to say that's it. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Simple. There's no analysis needed here. No thought needed here. It's a very gentle, direct exploration. Now, if your mind is simply making too much noise, there's doubt, a lot of thoughts, analysis, etc., trying to do this, that's fine. I would recommend looking more into some of my other self-inquiry approaches, or other people's self-inquiry approaches, specifically in reference to thinking and thoughts, and how to sort of get into those gaps between thoughts. I have a playlist called Awakening Approaches. I have another one called Thoughts. So some of those strategies will work if your mind is just racing on with this and it's not obvious what we're pointing to. But if it is, it's really just that simple. Just rest in it. And you can sort of gently feel around, probe into if there's any remaining flavor of the one on a path, the one that champions this tradition over that tradition, the one that feels like it needs to defend itself, the one that needs to be right, the one that needs to be loved. Can you feel any of that? Just taste those flavors of whatever comes just beyond I am. I am with a little leaning. I am with a little view forming. And if you find it, that's great. Just feel it from the I am. And just feel around and see, is there any actual substance to this? Does the tendency actually lead you anywhere? Is there a tendency? Is there an actual link here? And just keep with this until it clarifies and it's just I am. Let me know how that goes.